Today we're on a special edition of AlcoNerds, and
I'm here with my two non-scientist friends, Amilcar and Rachel. Today we want to talk about new emerging solutions that are trying to tackle the problem of excessive drinking, which is a problem that is global. It's also a problem that is very old. We know that drinking has been around for at least 13,000 years. There is archaeological evidence of Natufian fermentation sites, and they're 13,000 years old. Drinking alcohol is actually part of the Jewish and part of the Christian religion. It's actually part of the ceremony. The Americans tried to ban it in the roaring 20s, the years of prohibition. We don't want to stop drinking. We want to drink. We saw what happened in the United States when they tried to abolish drinking completely, and they couldn't. It seems to be very seriously entrenched in human society and human culture, at least modern. And it's a problem. Everybody knows that it causes a whole range of problems. There are some really, really interesting things to say about new solutions, maybe not everybody's aware of, that are emerging these days. And they each come from a completely different direction, and it looks like change is coming. So we want to talk a little bit about that today. Okay?
Yeah, I'm all ears over here for now.
Okay. As I said before, the fact that alcohol consumption is a problem isn't surprising, and it's not a new thing. And there are existing medicines, pharmaceutical medicines, that have been suggested by the pharmaceutical industry in order to help people curb their excessive drinking behavior. Some prominent examples are disulfiram, naltrexone, camprosate. These are prescribed pharmaceuticals that you can take the pill and it'll keep you from drinking too much. The problem is that they don't do it in a pleasurable way. There's no incentive for people to take them. And as a result, they're really largely unsuccessful because there isn't enough motivation to use this as a tool.
What sort of motivation? What do you mean?
So disulfiram, for example, makes you nauseous if you drink.
Oh,
So it punishes you for drinking. Keep from drinking too much. So someone thinks, okay, so if I take this before I go to the bar, I certainly won't drink as much because I'll get nauseous. But why would they take it?
Amazing.
Now, naltrexone is kind of the same idea, except it just doesn't make you feel inebriated or as inebriated, so it doesn't motivate you to keep drinking.
Right. I think the ideal, now that you mentioned motivation to stop drinking, I think the ideal binge buster would give you a bit of inebriation and then just take away your appetite for it.
Right. So that you're describing MEAI, which is actually a molecule that I suggested for curbing binge behavior because it has those properties. It is a little bit pleasurable, but then it does something to the way your brain works to make your decision-making process different and prevents you from wanting more. It's currently being put through clinical trials through the FDA by a company called Clear Mind Medicine that I work as an advisor for. So, just to be fully transparent, I'm not trying to advertise because I do want to cover the entire spectrum of solutions that are out there. And I think that most of the solutions will work to some extent, but I don't actually think that any one solution is sufficient to really make a substantial change, because alcohol is so old and so pervasive and so available and so accepted by so many people around the world. So having talked about that, let's talk about the other solutions that are out there. So there's a company in Britain that was founded by Professor David Nutt.
I'm familiar with David Nutt.
A lot of people are. one of the most admired neuropsychopharmacologists in the world. And they've got a drink that gives you a little bit of a mellowing effect called Sentia. And they've taken it a step further and rebranded their company, which was initially called AlcoNerds, to be called GABA Labs.
Oh, here, I found it. Like, it says something about its first botanical ingredient known as Abby. The ingredient has been licensed to the social drinks company, which is now launching the first of a new range of botanical spirits called Sentia. Abby is a botanical ingredient which can be formulated into a liquid product to provide an agreeable drinking experience that mimics the sociability and conviviality effects of the alcohol-based drink, like alcohol but better.
Yeah, so they've rebranded themselves as GABA Labs in order to make themselves into a pharmaceutical so that they can offer synthetics also that address the GABA receptor, which is really the feeling that everyone knows as being drunk. It's a soothing kind of mellowing effect that a lot of people, that's what they're looking for.
Interesting.
Yeah, but let's go back to the basics. We all know that humanity has a problem of excessive drinking. We live in a time of plenty. We have a lot of pressure in our lives. We want to escape from that pressure. And we have enough safety nets to get completely wasted. We can go and drink ourselves into oblivion without having to pay too much a price, more than a hangover, and maybe going to bed with the wrong person, or not finding the keys to your car. There are consequences, but they're not dire.
Depends.
They are dire in the long run, of course. So in order to get really, really drunk, you have to consume very large amounts of it, which has, over time, incrementally and gradually, it has deteriorating effect on your liver if you make a habit of it. And what companies like GABA Labs are saying is, let's find a chemical